I want to start with a feeling. It's it's this quiet, humming anxiety that I think is hitting pretty much every professional right now.
Mm, the fear of being left behind.
Exactly. You open your laptop, you see the headlines about some new AI model, and you just get this sinking feeling that you're already obsolete.
And the immediate reaction is, okay, I need to catch up. You see all this advice, learn to code, master prompt engineering.
Right. Download 50 new apps.
Yeah.
The solution to being overwhelmed is to just add more things to be overwhelmed by.
Which is precisely why the material we're looking at today is so different. We're doing a deep dive into the Leaders Lab deliverables from AI Compass Advisors.
Specifically, the philosophy of Charles Anthony.
And his whole argument, if you boil it down, is basically stop trying to out-robot the robot.
That's the twist, isn't it? Because this isn't about becoming more technical. The whole idea here is that to lead in the age of AI, you have to become more intensely human.
Exactly. The mission isn't to turn executives into data scientists. It's to mentor them into what he calls chief judgment officers.
I love that title.
Yeah.
Chief Judgment Officer. It implies that right now, leaders are something else.
Oh, they are. And the documents have a name for it that I have to admit felt a little too real when I first read it. They call it the analytical treadmill.
Okay, let's unpack that because I think a lot of people listening are about to feel seen.
So the source data suggests that something like 80% of an executive's day is just the data-heavy grind.
80%. That sounds high, but then I look at my own calendar and maybe it's not.
Well, think about it. You're buried in spreadsheets. You're in reactive meetings. You're checking dashboards. You are, for all intents and purposes, a chief analytical officer, a human information processor.
And we wear that as a badge of honor, don't we?
Yeah.
I was crunching the numbers all weekend. It feels productive.
It feels like work, but here's the tough part. An AI can do that processing a million times faster. And it doesn't get tired or have the biases we all have.
So if your main value is just analyzing data,
Yeah.
you're in trouble.
You're running on a treadmill and they just strapped a Ferrari engine to it. You can't keep up. You're going to fly right off the back.
So what's the move? The source calls it strategic reallocation.
Which, yeah, sounds a bit like corporate jargon, but it's really about a fundamental shift. You use AI to offload that 80%, not to go play golf, but to free up your mind.
To focus on the high value stuff.
Exactly. But that's where the fear kicks in, right?
Oh, absolutely. Because if I'm not the one who knows the numbers cold, what am I even doing? Am I just a rubber stamp for what the machine says?
That is the central question. If the machine does the thinking, what's left for the human? And that's where the material introduces this concept of the critical trio.
Right. This is the core of the architect mindset.
Yeah. The argument is, no matter how smart AI gets, there are three things a leader can never, ever delegate: judgment, ethics, and accountability.
Okay, let's drill into judgment because that can feel a bit fuzzy.
Think of it like this. An AI is a probability engine. It can tell you option A has a 92% chance of increasing revenue next quarter.
And my instinct is to say, great, let's do option A.
But that's a calculation, not a judgment. Judgment is looking at that 92% and asking the other questions. Okay, but will this move alienate our core customers? Does it align with our brand values?
So the AI gives you the map, but the human has to actually drive the car.
A perfect way to put it. And that leads directly to the second pillar, which is ethics.
The moral guardrails.
And this is about hardcore risk management. An algorithm doesn't have a conscience. If you tell it to maximize efficiency, it might recommend firing half your staff and overworking the rest.
It hit the target. It did what you asked.
It did exactly what you asked, but it created a PR nightmare that could destroy the company. The human has to be the one to look at that logical, efficient plan and say, no, we're not doing that.
And that ties into the third pillar, accountability.
Yes. This is where it gets real. You have to own the consequences. You can't stand in front of your board after a disaster and say, well, the algorithm told me to do it.
The computer made me do it is not a defense.
It's not a defense at all. You are the final fail-safe. You're the chief judgment officer.
There's a concept in here I found really useful for picturing this. The shifts from looking at first-order effects to second-order effects.
This is huge. And it's probably the most practical part of the whole framework. Most of us are stuck on that treadmill, so we only see what's right in front of us, the immediate result.
Like, we launched a chatbot and cut support costs by 15% this quarter.
Exactly. That's a first-order effect. A causes B. But the architect mindset, the training here, is about simulating what happens next.
The ripples in the pond.
Right. So you saved 15%. Great. What's a second-order effect in year 2? Maybe customer satisfaction plummets because people hate the bot. What's the third-order effect in year 3? Maybe your brand reputation is shot and you've lost market share.
So the short-term win led to a long-term catastrophe.
And an AI might not see that if it's just optimizing for this quarter's cost savings. The architect uses AI to play out those future scenarios, to design a strategy that's built to last.
You stop being a firefighter, just putting out today's blaze.
And you start being an architect, designing a building that won't catch fire in the first place.
I want to pivot now to something that really surprised me in the reading. We always talk about using AI to analyze the business. Charles Anthony talks about using AI to analyze the leader.
The objective mirror.
It sounds a little bit like science fiction, this idea of preventative maintenance for a CEO's brain.
It sounds wild, but it's totally logical. If you have a critical piece of machinery in a factory, you cover it in sensors, right? You track its performance so you can fix it before it breaks down.
You don't wait for the smoke.
So why don't we do that for the single most critical asset in the entire company, the leader's mind?
We just wait until they burn out and make a disastrous decision.
Right. So this program proposes using AI to track something they call decision latency.
Okay, decision latency. How does that even work?
It's subtle. It's not a stopwatch. It analyzes your digital trail, the time between receiving critical information and acting on it, the language you use in your communications. It spots patterns you'd never see in yourself.
So what's a pattern it might find? What's the signal of a brain breakdown?
It might see that your decision speed drops by 15% every third Friday, or that after a stressful board meeting, you become much more risk-averse for the next 48 hours. Your emails get longer, you use more tentative language.
Wow. So it's detecting burnout before I even consciously feel it?
It's an early warning system for cognitive retreat or decision fatigue. The AI can essentially tap you on the shoulder and say, hey, your processing speed is slowing. You need to step back before you make a big mistake.
That's like a check engine light for your own mind.
And the business outcome is agility. A leader who is not cognitively overloaded makes better, faster decisions. The whole company can pivot faster.
Okay, I can just hear a skeptical listener right now thinking, if the AI has the data, and now it's analyzing me, does my 20 years of experience even matter anymore?
The fear of irrelevance, it's very real, and the source material has a great answer for it. It's called tacit knowledge.
Tacit knowledge.
Yeah.
So that's different from the facts and figure.
Totally different. Explicit knowledge is data. AI is great at that. Tacit knowledge it's the gut feeling. It's the intuition you've built over a whole career.
It's knowing something is wrong with a deal, even when the spreadsheet looks perfect.
Exactly. The framework calls the combination contextual wisdom. The AI provides the data, the leader provides the context.
Can you give me a real-world example of that?
The documents use a great one about market entry in India. The AI might design a mathematically perfect marketing campaign, perfect keywords, perfect demographic targeting.
All green lights on the dashboard.
But a human leader with that tacit contextual knowledge looks at the ad and says, whoa, wait, that color combined with that slogan in that specific region, that's deeply offensive. The AI would never know that.
So you need both. You need the data and the human wisdom.
You absolutely need both. And this is where the credibility of the source comes in, because this isn't just theory. Charles Anthony's background is key here.
Right. He worked with India's 108 emergency system.
Which is like 911, but on an unbelievably complex scale. For him, accountability and decision latency aren't just business school buzzwords.
They're matters of life and death.
Literally. If the system is slow, people die.
Yeah.
So when he talks about building resilient leadership, he's coming from a place where the stakes are as high as they get. It's battle-tested stuff.
Let's talk about how this is delivered, because the source makes a big deal about mentoring, not consulting.
And that's a crucial distinction. The old consulting model is a firm comes in, writes a big report, hands it to you, and leaves.
Right, and the report gathers dust on a shelf.
Yeah. Exactly. This is a mentoring-first philosophy. It's about changing the leader's actual behavior. It's not about giving them a fish. It's about teaching them how to fish in these new waters.
So it's more like a personal trainer for your executive mind.
That's a great way to put it. And they do it through workshops, one-on-one coaching, and this I found really interesting. They do board briefings.
Why the board?
Because the board needs to understand this shift. They need to see that when the CEO spends less time in spreadsheets and more time simulating future scenarios, they aren't slacking off. They're leveling up.
The board has to value judgment over just pure data analysis.
And there's a governance piece too. The text talks about foresight as an obligation.
What does that mean, an obligation?
It means that if the AI tools exist to foresee a major risk and you chose not to use them, That's negligence. You can no longer say, I didn't know.
Wow. Okay. So as we wrap this up, what's the final verdict? For that person feeling that anxiety we talked about at the start, what's the one big change?
You have to consciously fire yourself from the job of Chief Analytical Officer. Stop trying to compete with the machine on its terms. You will lose.
And you have to accept the promotion.
Accept the promotion to Chief Judgment Officer. Let the AI handle the what. You focus on the why and the should we.
There's a quote in the source material from Anthony that's pretty stark.
It is. He says, AI will not replace you, but leaders who successfully integrate AI will replace those who don't.
That hits hard. It's not machine versus human. It's AI-enabled human versus, everyone else.
It's a paradox, isn't it? To survive in the age of the machine, you have to become more human, not less.
So, we want to leave you with one final thought today. It comes right back to that critical trio.
Judgment, ethics, and accountability.
And it leaves you with a really tough question. If an AI hands you a perfectly logical, data-backed business plan that will maximize profit, do you have the ethical stamina, the pure human judgment, to look at it and say no if it just feels wrong?
That's the new job. That's the new definition of leadership.
It's something to think about. Thanks for listening to this deep dive.
Take care.